This episode of SLP's Wine and Cheese is brought to you by SpeechTherapyPD.com. It's a 100% SLP-owned website that specializes in practical, engaging, evidence-based video and audio courses. There's more than 600 hours of courses available on demand.
Yes, there are weekly live and interactive courses and pod courses. They offer unlimited plans starting at $89 a year. And now you can get $10 off with the code WINE, WINE. So enter WINE at checkout.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of SLP's Wine and Cheese. I'm Deb.
And I'm Maria.
And that's Oliver.
And this is our podcast
for the realistic SLP.
Yes, welcome. If this is your first time tuning in, this is a perfect episode to listen to because we're going to recap all the things we've done in the past, give you a quick little update of what we're doing, and our plans for the podcast.
Yeah.
So, what is SLP's Wine and Cheese, you might ask?
I think it's an entertaining and also informative podcast for not only SLPs, but anybody in the educational field.
/ medical field.
Or medical field.
Yes, and we are a weekly show, and we have different topics. They vary week to week. And we also consume wine and cheese to just add to the light and freshness of the topics and also the mood.
Right, yeah.
So we have different segments. We have segments called Sink It or Drink It, and that's when we grade or rate the wine, if you will. We have a Tips or Tricks segment towards the end where we provide our listeners with one handy but simple trick or tip that they can use and start applying the next day. Nothing that requires a whole lot of planning or really thinking, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then we always end with an inspirational quote because we feel like that's such a great way to sum up everything we talked about. And I don't know, we ourselves live by quotes, so we want our listeners to be inspired to do the same.
Yeah, so that's basically how our episodes break down. We're a weekly show. We have wine and cheese. We have guests. We talk about speech. We talk about all sorts of topics. And then sometimes we just hang out and we chat.
Right, yeah.
So we'll talk about ourselves first, maybe.
That's what I was thinking, too, actually. Okay. Yeah, so you want to talk about yourself first?
Sure. So My name is Deborah Brooks. I'm a speech-language pathologist. I live and work in Brooklyn. I'm currently in the educational setting at a charter school. I'm also an adjunct professor at a university in New York.
Which you weren't prior to the beginning of this episode.
So that was new.
Things have changed.
Things have changed. When we first started the show, I was working in a preschool, in an elementary school, and a nursing home.
Yes, that's right.
Now I'm currently just in an elementary school, and I'm an adjunct, and I also am a CF supervisor. So
cool.
I have 2 CFs that I am supervising, but they are my 6th and 7th. So
you've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And so I'm from Staten Island, New York. I never lived anywhere longer than 2 years before I was 12. So I lived in 4 different states, 10 different houses, and I went to 13 different schools. So I don't really know where I'm from, but when I narrow it down, I'm either from Staten Island or New Jersey, which is great because no one's got anything bad to say about either of those places.
Right, yes. Satire and sarcasm is also on the show.
Right, yeah.
Welcome.
Those paralinguistic teachers of language. So then I went to St. John's University for undergrad and graduate school. I have a bachelor's in communication sciences and disorders and a master's in speech language pathology. I did both of my educational
practicums.
I was at the Queens campus both.
Oh, okay.
And then I did my CF at a private practice in Park Slope. And then I moved to an agency my next year where I was in countless locations since then. And I'm still in the same agency. I couldn't even label all the places where I've worked at this point.
Right. Everywhere and anywhere, yes. We'll say.
And now, and then almost a year ago, probably a year ago around this time, I had the idea to start a podcast, and I began reaching out to people, and I reached out to Maria.
Thank you.
To
That's
see
where
if
I
she
come
would
in
like
there.
to do a podcast with me. So
Yes.
tell us about you.
Yeah, and then we'll connect the dots
Yeah.
of how you and I connected.
Okay.
So I am Maria Katsonis. I'm also an SLP. I also went to St. John's. I went to St. John's, the Staten Island campus for my undergrad and the Queens campus for my grad. I too, I can say, am from Staten Island. It is what it is, I'm not knocking it. It is made me who I am. So, in that case, I like it. So I was born in Greece, though, and I came to America when I was just a baby. So I'm also bilingual in Greek. And I do like to go there in the summer, which we'll talk about a lot in the other shows.
Right.
Yes, and Deb
You'll
likes.
hear about that.
Yeah, I like going to Greece. Who doesn't? That's what I say. Who doesn't? So anyway, I went to St. John's for my master's, and during my master's, I was a grad assistant. So I had a grad internship, I guess you could say, which means they covered my college.
Right. So she didn't have to pay, but I did. You'll also hear about that when
Right.
you go back
Yes.
in episodes.
Right. Well, I did work for it. I did work, and I did midnight runs and did a lot of stuff for St. John's. So, thank you. Thank you, St. John's. But so after that, I graduated with my master's, and I decided to work for the Department of Education, which I highly recommend. And I did that as a CF, and now even currently. And I've been essentially at almost the same location. I transferred once, but still within the same school district. And I also work in the elementary setting. I've had experience with all different ages, though. I've done early intervention and I haven't done a preschool, no. But early intervention, I've had some adults before. So, just a whole bunch of different clients. Am I missing something? I'm not a professor, so there we go.
But you work with individuals with autism and have experience with AAC devices.
Right, yes. I forgot about that. So, yes, I work with students who have severe communication deficits, and I have experience with AAC and just, apraxia, autism, just more severely disabled, I guess, students or clients. I don't know how you want to call it. But yeah, that's my experience, and I love it. I love working with children with severe communication needs. And I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, yeah, and then Deb one day texted me and was like, hey, you want to do this podcast with me? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Right.
I like to go with the flow, so why not?
Yeah, she said, to what do I owe this honor?
Right.
So I was like, I guess she's down. And so why did I ask Maria? So Maria and I were clinic partners in grad school, and we shared a client, and I felt like we worked well together then, and she's quite knowledgeable and passionate about the field.
Oh, thank you.
So I
So
thought
are you.
she would be a great podcast co-host.
Oh, thanks, Deb.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean,
Cheers.
I initially asked you if you wanted to be a guest, and
Right.
then you assumed I meant
Yes, we
I
had to
had
sip
to
that.
drink because she yells at me if I don't drink.
Right, because it's bad luck,
Yeah, so then she just assumed I meant co-host, and I was totally cool with that because I didn't want to be Bill Burr just by myself ranting into a microphone for an hour weekly. I mean, he's very talented, and I don't have what he has.
I don't know who that is, so
He's a comedian,
whatever.
he's funny, but
okay, all right. I was like, what? What's
but he has
happening?
a podcast all by himself.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know.
Yeah.
So I thought initially it would be kind of hard to get someone to come all the time, so I thought I would just book guests every week, and you were just willing to do it all the time, so it's nice to have a co-host.
Yes,
And
cool.
so people can look forward to hearing our past episodes and how we have evolved from the beginning till now. We started May 7th, 2018.
Yes.
And it's been exciting.
Yes, it has been. And a lot of people like to say we have different opinions, but there are some things we do agree on and we don't. But we did have the similar background because we both went to St. John's, got our masters together. We're clinic partners together. But right now, and really from where we went in the fields, we kind of went different directions. I work like for the city, and you work for an agency, so you're kind of like all over the place, and I'm just in one station.
Well, now I'm only in one place.
Isn't it nice?
I
Isn't it nice to be in one place?
I mean, there's advantages to all of it. Sometimes
You're
it's
right.
nice to break free.
You're
and just
right.
Go somewhere.
That's true too.
But yeah, so I mean, there are, the grass is always greener. You're always going to find something that like you think would be better in a different situation. But I am in one place. I do feel like currently my life is a bit calmer, and I enjoy that. But I also feel like because I was in so many places throughout the day early on in my career that I'm just really adequately prepared for anything that could get tossed at me.
Same here. I do agree with that. Yes.
But some of our past episodes that people could look forward to if they wanted to listen in, we our second episode, the lovely ladies from SLP Toolkit, they came to see us. And Sarah and Lisa are so fun, so entertaining.
Yes.
What are your thoughts of that episode 2, Chat and Sip with SLP Toolkit?
I just wish the audio quality was better.
It was our second episode.
Yes.
So it was like we didn't know what we were doing, and we were all so excited. That was how we met. Well, I met them at ASHA, but then that was like the second time I saw them, and it's different when they come to your apartment. So I just think we were super excited that episode. So it's like a lot of laughing, a lot of loudness, and it was fun. But it's not my most favorite episode, but it was one of my favorite days. That was fun.
You always say this quote because Deb is a glossary of quote. If you're not embarrassed by your first work, you waited too long.
Yeah, you started too late.
You started too late. So listen, you texted me.
Yeah.
I was like, let's do it. We did our first episode where we just kind of like introduced ourselves, similar to this episode.
Right.
And then you were like, but wait, we have Lisa and Sarah from SLP Toolkit. And I'm like, whoa, only our second episode? And we're not going to turn them down. We're not going to be like, no, we're not ready.
They were in town. They were doing all these talks to schools.
But we had to do a blast that night.
Oh,
and I was like, this is podcasting life? Sign me up.
Right,
I'm already invested, but now even more.
And then our next episode was Perception and Phonology.
I love that episode. That's
my
a good
favorite episode.
Me too. This is a classic, if you will. It's
I've
a classic.
listened to it more than once.
There's like core and fringe. That's like a core.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Sure
of AAC.
So there we talk about like all sorts of different things. It's perception and phonology. So check that one out. Next we have Assess the Situation. And we talk about assessments and how important that is for your therapy plans. And
that was a good one because it was a lot of like a foundational skills.
Right.
So we were going to think about, all right, we're going to talk about speech pathology, and everyone thinks of speech like, oh, what do you do in therapy? But we're like, wait. A good evaluation drives a good therapy. So we wanted to have an evaluation episode early in the game.
Right, yeah.
Similar to reflective of your I was going to say surgery. No surgery.
No
surgery.
Never had any.
We're not surgeons.
No.
Similar to your therapy.
Right.
Got it.
Then next we had bilingualism momisms, where we had our fellow alumni, Megan.
Yes.
She came on.
It's so funny when you say alumni. You make me feel old.
Well, that's what we are.
That is also a recurring theme of our.
We bring it up more than once that we turned 30 in 2018.
Yes. We did have like quarter of a midlife crisis about turning 30. We had episodes about 30. We
talk about 30. I got a tattoo and purple hair.
Right, I don't know what I did. I just went to Greece for a month.
I was
like, bye.
For 6 months.
Yeah, I did. You're right.
That's what you did.
No big deal. Just panicked about every day for 6 months.
And then after that, we went into our autism series. We have autism part 1, 2, and 3. And part 3 is my favorite because we feature my boyfriend, Mike Racine, and he talks about what it was like to grow up with a brother with autism.
I really like that episode.
And then after that, episode 9, Theory of Mind.
I love that one. We got to bring that back. Bring that back. Theory of Mind was good. Definitely.
Episode 10, Freedom of Speech. Don't love that episode. We had a couple drinks, and this was when we were batching episodes because Maria was going to go to Greece.
Due to my turning 30 crisis. No, actually, my cousin got married.
You go every summer anyway.
I did.
So we were trying to get a bunch of episodes done so that while we were not going to be able to see each other for the whole summer, we would still be able to post weekly. So that episode's fine, but we're like drunk and singing and off key. So I don't know.
I mean, now that you say it that way, I kind of want to listen to that episode again.
Okay. I mean, I've listened to it more than once. I've listened to all these episodes more than once, I think.
Okay. I got to re-listen to our originals.
Then we go into cognitive flexibility.
That's a classic. That's a core one, you know?
Yeah,
if you want to do
episode.
core and fringe, you know?
Still just me and you. A lot of our first season is just me and you.
Yes.
And then we have 2 more episodes in our first season. We have dating featuring Mike Racine.
That's one of my favorite ones. And
Yeah.
if I have a confession, when I was like dating a lot and doing the whole online dating thing, I would be like, oh, I'm Maria and I'm an SLP and I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, I have a podcast. And then the guy would be like, oh, cool. And I'm like, yeah, listen to this episode.
Right, yeah.
So, right.
I mean, it would be a good episode to point it because, like, it's not like he wants to hear about cognitive flexibility, probably.
Well, he probably should.
Well, he could, but that's
Right.
not way to break someone into things.
Right.
But lots of people wrote to me saying they loved that episode and they liked when Mike did all the different accents, saying, I brought you a goat, can I date your daughter?
Yes. I had my dad listen to that episode too.
Did he?
Yeah, of course he did. It's a good one.
And then we ended season 1 with our favorite things. And that's when we were talking about our favorite things. But then I think we also had a contest where if we could turn anything we said into a song. Then we got a point.
And you beat me at the end.
Yeah. Well,
spoiler alert. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that was season 1.
Yeah.
So from season 1, I was like, oh, what do I want to see for this episode, for this podcast? I was like, I want to keep manifesting free wine, you know?
Yes, she did talk
So
about
we
that.
got a lot of different wines given to us
people
as
started reaching out and giving us wine, which was quite nice because, you know, having a podcast is not free or cheap or anything. It's like it costs energy, it costs money, it costs time,
gas for me,
yeah,
tolls for me,
yeah,
crossing
exactly.
Verrazano Bridge.
Verrazano is not a cheap bridge.
It is not. But, you know, luckily I get a discount for living on Staten Island.
You have
See,
that
there are some perks, Deb.
resident discount, right? I don't get that. I drive to Staten Island every week now because I teach there, but I don't get a discount.
Ouch.
But I'm wondering if I can write that off on my taxes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm just
of course.
I'm gonna screenshot my whole Amazon account and just see what
you
I
should
can get off that. Then we started season 2 with from grad student to CF SLP, and we had one of my CFs.
That's such a great episode because we talked a lot about like applying to grad school and transitioning from grad school to CF, and we got so many questions about that.
Right.
So if you're one of those individuals that you have a lot of questions about that, go back to that episode. That's such a good one. Classic. Another core.
I mean, people message me all the time about grad school, and I'm just like, I have no idea.
We're old.
It's been too long. I have no idea about what you have to do to apply to grad school.
We've lost too many brain cells. I'm just kidding.
But also, the requirements are different, and like what people are looking for are different than what they were looking for when we were going.
The only thing that's consistent is change. So 6 years ago, in terms of university and what is that fancy word? Like college, the college world. That's not fancy. Academia. Academia. 6 years in academia is like 20 in like pop culture. You know what I mean?
I feel like people say now all the time that we never said when we went to school? Cohort. We never said like, the ladies in our cohort.
Yeah.
No, we never talked like that. And that's like so common now.
We're going to be like, this girl in my class.
Yeah. It never talked about my cohort. I didn't even know that word.
Yes, I know. We had to Google that.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing. So then episode 16 and 17, we talk about goals.
That was another classic because that was a 2-part episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a 2-part episode. We just talked about I think we went through like all the speech and language disorders and then came up with a goal.
But we also talked about goals for ourselves, and that's when I talked about getting free wine, and it did work. So I met my goal, and I also Deb made a goal for me to worry less, which I've been working on consistently. And we have an episode coming out soon about worrying and anxiety. Sneak peek.
That'll be episode 39?
440. That'll be 49. This is 39.
Oh, okay.
I believe so. And then Deb talked a lot about ASHA And then Asha was a big part.
That was a big goal. I wanted to have a table at Asha. And,
Check.
So this is in August that the goals episodes came out, and that's when we started applying for the table, and we did have a table at Asha, so we did that.
Yep, yeah, we did.
But before we did that,
and you wanted a banner, but the banner was included in the table.
Right.
Check.
And it's now on the wall in here.
It's now on our wall, and we're looking at it. Check.
Yeah.
Still there.
It's nice to accomplish goals.
Yes, it is. And that's part of our career, you know. You make goals for your clients, and that's kind of what we talk about in that episode. So that's why it's a core. It's a core.
And it was just ideas of, like, goals that you can have, but at the same time, it's important to, you know, nothing is going to trump your clinical judgment. You need to go back to that assessment to actually formulate appropriate goals that are individualized for your client. But we did give you some ideas on wording that we like to use when we're writing goals.
Yeah.
After that, we had 2 episodes with Katie, the OT.
Yeah, my friend Katie
was the first one, and then fine motor.
Those are also classics.
So a sensory episode and a fine motor episode.
Check those out.
Mm-hmm. And then we had episode 21 with our lovely friend Michelle L.W. Dawson.
Yes.
And we love her, and she is just a wealth of knowledge. This is not our best episode because the audio is just so on the fritz and not my favorite episode.
But the content, on the other hand, is great. So if you have to rewind it and try to, like, oh, what did they say there? You know, the audio, do it because it's worth it.
We should have her on again, though.
We need a better quality audio one. That one you should have, like, CUs for.
Exactly.
That was just a plethora of information.
Yeah, she made me feel like I'm not doing enough. I need to be more like her.
Yeah, see, I felt like, wow, she's smart, period. You know, I didn't have any other, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I wanted to be her.
Yes, you did.
Then we had our artsy tea party, and we talked about using art and speech.
That was another.
We drank tea.
That was another classic. That was a fun episode. Fun and light, like art.
Then we had fashion for SLPs, and Amy came on. That was the day we designed our blah, blah, blah shirts. And then she also came on, and she talked about just a few fashion staples that, like, SLPs or anybody in the professional world can just buy certain items of clothing so that you always feel professional in your attire.
But also, speaking of the blah, blah, blah shirts, we had a whole photo shoot with our blah, blah, blah shirts. Deb and I had fun with that.
Sold them at Asha.
We sold them at Asha.
We did a few giveaways.
Giveaways with our blah, blah, blah shirts. They're just kind of like our little uniform, you could say. Which
we still have a couple left.
We still have a couple left.
I don't know what sizes are left, but if you are
medium and large.
Medium and large? Okay.
Yes. In white and pink, blah, blah, blah shirts. Right. Those were the only colors they came in. Because our speech pathology shirts sold out.
Yeah, those sold out.
Woo!
We ran out of those. I think I actually have. No, you took the one I had.
That one's sold.
You sold it, yeah. Then we had our Happy Halloween episode, which I did like that episode a lot.
That was fun. Not much to do with speech in that one, so.
No, I don't remember what we talked about. Oh, I did that horror movie trivia game.
Yes. Was Mike in that?
He might have came in for
I was terrible. We discovered I'm terrible at trivia.
And movies.
And then in the Christmas episode, we've discovered that Mike is very good at trivia.
Right, yeah. We didn't get there yet, though. We're on episode 25 on our best behavior.
Okay. Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, and that's the first time we had the first time we had our favorite wine sponsors. They came
Scout and
episode
Cellar
24 and episode 25. Scout and Cellar gave us wine.
They're clean wine. I don't want to mess this up, but pesticide free and all that fun stuff. And that's actually what I'm drinking currently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I already drank mine, so I'm drinking some Angry Orchard Rosé.
But drink it or sink it. They're Prosecco.
I vote drink it.
I vote drink it too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's very fizzy though.
I know she doesn't like the fizz.
But the taste and the smoothness, I do.
You're right, and also like after a bit, you get used to it. No.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
So then next, we had an episode about on our best behavior, and we talked about like how to deal with behavior issues in the speech therapy session.
Would you call that a classic episode?
You know what? I don't even remember what we talked about on this episode.
We talked about how like we talked about how a behavior can be like an avoidance or a sensory,
Oh, right.
which kind of tied into a lot of things Katie talked about. So maybe it's somewhere between a classic and a fringe.
And then I think one of my favorite things to talk about in terms of behavior is like maintaining a schedule within the speech therapy session.
Yes,
that's consistent.
structure.
So if it's predictable, you're going to alleviate the anxieties of a child being like, how long will I be here? And will it be too hard?
Yeah, we talked a lot about visual supports and we gave like scenarios. I think it's a classic.
And
I think
also
behavior is
utilizing
hard.
More maintenance trials rather than acquisition trials. You want to sandwich difficult things with easy things so that they feel more confident and less stressed out about their work.
I had a student observer last week. I don't know if that's the correct term. But I equated
my grad students that I teach, they need people to observe. So can I send them to you?
Sure you can. Okay, yes. Okay. Are they going to bring me free wine?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'm going to manifest it.
Well,
they don't have to give it to me in the school. Okay. They could deliver it. Okay. They could drop it off.
I'll say she does like wine.
Oh, my God. Here's this wine enthusiast SLP. Well, they can absolutely come. No strings attached, and watch me do my thing that I enjoy to do. That's why I'm here. Mm-hmm. But I equated it with like a workout. You go to a workout class, you're not going to be like, let's go and do 100 burpees, right? You do a warm up.
Right.
You do the bulk of it. There's breaks.
Yeah.
And there's a cool down.
Yeah.
And that's like similar to SLP therapy,
I think that's a great way to structure your therapy session.
That's what I do.
Like I used to always tell my CS that every
letter makes a sound.
Oh, well, I tell every kid that.
Deb does that too.
I took that from a toy though. So many people have like coined that as if it's my phrase.
Oh.
But it's not. I took it from a toy that sticks to the refrigerator.
Maybe you should post that.
I have.
Okay.
Many
times, okay. As long as you posted that somewhere.
I don't know if Richard Price is even going to find out about me.
I think they will.
If they do, then I will feel very accomplished.
Exactly. That's why I meant it in a good way.
Yeah.
But they're not good. As long as you covered it.
Yeah. I mean,
you're good.
I have said that over and over again. I am not the one who made up every letter makes a sound.
Good.
That was from a refrigerator.
You heard it here, folks.
And then what I used to tell my CFs all the time was that every speech therapy session, I wanted kids to say something, read something, write something, and
act. Say a poem.
Yeah, like so they would say
discuss
a poem,
maybe,
and then ask a question.
To discuss.
Something like that.
Topic maintenance.
Yeah, so just like if you just make sure you hit upon all those points. Did they say something? Did they read something? Did they write something? So you did something right that day.
Right.
So then we go into episode 3, and our first episode of episode
3 or season 3?
Season 3, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't be sorry.
First episode of season 3 is episode 26, Voice, with Christy Voice from Instagram. Love her. Maria was sick.
I was sick. I'm sorry, guys. Season 3, we really focused, which is still right now, season 3.
Yes, we're in
focusing on branching out to our guests because we feel like Deb and I got a good flow. Our listeners got a good understanding of our styles, our personalities. So we're like, all right, it's time to branch out. So we had Christy Voice on there, another classic because we really started picking specific topics within speech. So we had a voice episode. We had Ann Page from Beautiful Speech Life talking about AAC. We had, I'm trying to think what other awesome guests. We had Tanya Liu talking about oral facial biology. We had
Christy Voice and then Ann Page. And then we had, you forgot about SLPs No More Stress, Please.
Oh, right. Well, that was just us. I was talking specifically of guests. But yes.
But I feel like people reach out and they're like, they talk to us about self-care and like we should do an episode about that. And
we should.
We did touch upon that in episode 28, though.
Yeah.
Then episode 29, Christmas Time.
Right, which got kind of referenced with the Halloween. Yeah, another fringe.
episode.
It was a holiday episode.
Mike came on that episode.
That was a good one, though.
That was a funny episode.
He made fun of me for saying I'm an Ulta girl, which I still think about every time I go to Ulta, which is often. So, Mike's voice just ringing in my head. It's just podcasting life. So I wanted to also interject with there's themes within our podcast. Yeah. There's always dogs. A motif.
A motif is a reoccurring theme, like the
is
dagger
it?
in Hamlet. Yeah, like so that's our. So we have the dogs. We have
The
30.
dogs. We have Mike.
Mike.
We have like my dating life.
Yeah.
And the lack thereof.
Right.
We have wine doesn't count. Wine's like a stable character or
Right.
or environment or setting.
Yeah.
That's about it. Mike interrupting.
Yeah, I think he's home now. So
Oh, there he
he'll come in.
He's definitely gonna come in right now.
And then we have what else did we have? So we had the many faces of R. Many people write to us asking us to talk about R articulation. So if you want to hear what we do for that, that's episode 32. Oh, we had episode 31, AAC and Literacy with the Mrs. Diaz, Emily Diaz. I love her. And
that was a great episode, another classic. I think all our guest episodes are pretty much classics.
Yeah,
I
such
would
good
say.
insight.
Yeah.
Then we also had The Essentials with Misbehavior, Allie, episode 33.
Yes.
And then our Cognitive Rehab, episode 34. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. Lots of good ideas.
Any cognitive stuff was always a hit with the people. So we're going to maybe think inwardly of how we can do that. Because also, like, right, I'm sorry, I was going to go into where we see ourselves in the future, you know?
Yeah, so then we did
so I'll let you
episode
finish that up.
35 is Muscles and Bikinis with
Tanya
Lujan about oral facial myology. And that was a very informative episode. It made me think I want to do more research there. Then we had our Agree to Disagree episode, which was fun to do.
That was fun. I liked it.
Marie and I had a snow day, so we talked over the computers. We used a video chat to make that episode happen, and we just talked about issues in the news and pop culture and what our stances are on those. So it's not so speech therapy related, but it's a good one. Then we talked to the Black Speechy, Amanda. She's on Instagram as @theblackspeechy. She's a grad student. And we chatted with her for episode 37.
I thought that was a great episode.
So great.
We hit so many points and so concise with them. Mm-hmm. It's like a good grad school essay.
Right, yeah. So 2 grad episodes.
2 grad episodes. So if for our grad school listeners, I feel like we have a lot that we got to meet a lot of at ASHA.
Oh, and then we didn't talk about that. We did those interviews at ASHA that kind of got ruined.
Right.
So.
Another theme of our thing is like, instead of us just phasing into that convo, Deb's like, "Oh, we didn't talk about that." Where I was just gonna initiate a question about it, and that would be us talking about it.
So you're better at transitions.
Yes, I'm pretty good at transitions. So Deb, did you have fun at ASHA? I
did. I thought that ASHA was a lot of fun. I was so happy that Mike came. He was super helpful. I felt very overwhelmed at ASHA, honestly. I don't get nervous about too much, but I feel like before ASHA, I was like really anxious about it. Yeah. And I was just worried about every single aspect of it. And while I was there, I felt so grateful that so many people came to our booth and so many people came to talk to us, and so many people wanted to take a picture and say hi and like say how they've been following me for a long time, and they started listening to our podcast and they love it and they follow us now and stuff. And that was like great. so fulfilling, and also at the same time a lot for me. I never experienced that before.
Well, it's weird because I'm more of the worrier, and I wasn't worried about ASHA. But I don't know if that's just because
manifest it.
I don't know. I just felt like I had confidence in us, and I was like, no, like it's gonna be great. You know, we're gonna have so much fun, and like maybe just because I've never been to ASHA, so I didn't have an expectation of just like, oh, we're gonna have a booth and it's gonna be fun. Mm-hmm. You know, and it was like, I don't know, maybe I didn't do enough work.
Hey, Mike.
Mike's there. Mike was also at ASHA too.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I like that we sold our shirts and we got to like show our shirts, and people were like interested in like hearing about us and like telling us that, oh my God, you know, a couple of people told us like, oh my God, I listened to your podcast and it puts me in a great mood, you know? So like,
on my way to work.
Right. And it just shows that like we're like inspiring people, you know, like
nice.
kind of nervous to use that word, but like it seemed like we were based off what people were saying.
coloring books for the first time ever, and I sold those, and that was exciting for me too, because I was like, what an investment, but it actually turned out to be good.
Good.
So that was good.
Yeah, so Asha was great. Our interviews, however, I gave interviews to people, and I felt like I learned so much, but those were not good audio quality.
Yeah.
So reiterating, if you want to be interviewed on our show again, shoot us an email, slpswineandcheese@gmail.com.
Yeah, and then our most recent episode is episode 38. It's with school psychologist Michelle, and she talks about being a school psychologist and ABA therapy.
Yeah, and we have more psychology episodes coming out soon, so be on the lookout for that. Stay tuned.
But right now, we're going to get into our sponsor. So this episode is brought to you by SpeechTherapyPD.com. It's a 100% owned, SLP-owned website. Speech Therapy PD specializes in practical, engaging, evidence-based video and audio courses. There are more than 600 hours of courses on demand.
There are weekly live and interactive courses and pod courses. They offer unlimited plans starting at only $89 a year. And you can get $10 off with the coupon code WINE, WINE. So enter WINE at checkout. So anyway, we're back. And so just to, so we talked about the past, our past together. We outlined all the way up to the present, and then I was thinking of why we talk about our future, why we even started the podcast, which I guess can go into the past, but what we hope for the podcast. You want to go?
So, what's your
first?
question? Wait, what are you?
I
asking
don't know. I have a lot of questions. So
question?
Why did we start the podcast? So going back to the past. Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to start the podcast was because I already had an Instagram that had a pretty nice following, and I was getting a lot of direct messages asking me questions, and I just felt like too much of the workload of being a speech pathologist is writing, and I didn't find the capacity within myself to write anything further, so I thought, let me have a microphone and I can answer all of these questions, and then people can hear this side of me. So I just thought this would be easier than writing all the time. I could never imagine being like a blogger, like putting out a newsletter or something. I don't want to write more.
Because you're more also an auditory learner.
Right.
Where you're like, say it to me one more time. And I'm like a visual person where I'm like, I need a picture. That's why I love visuals. Mm-hmm. So, just it's a little difference between us.
Right.
That's also because I feel like I have difficulty with auditory functioning. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get distracted easily by background noise, and that's another motif in our
sirens.
Yes, the sirens and just different things in Brooklyn. So background noise.
Yeah. So why did you start the podcast?
Well, because
you want to.
You asked
me. That's
it.
What made you say yes?
Because it sounded fun. And I'm just like, this is cool. Yes, a podcast. I listened to podcasts, but none of them were speech related. I remember a while ago searching for speech podcasts, and I don't remember if I found one. I never stuck with them. Mm-hmm. I can't. This was a while ago, though, 2-3 years ago. And you asked me, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. Podcasts are cool, and why not? And me and you are always friends,
Right.
So I was like, why not hang out with Deb?
Right, it was cool. It was a good idea. I think it was fun.
It was a great idea. Your idea. Can't take credit for it.
Where do we want it to go?
Where do we want it to go? I don't know. Keep growing.
Yeah, I just want to keep growing, and I want to be an advocate in the field. I want to make sure that I'm speaking towards the benefit of the providers, and while therapy should be client driven, at the same time it's there's a significant issue in terms of burnout, and that's kind of, I watched this video about how saying burnout is actually victim blaming.
Oh, right.
Because it's you're saying, oh, you did too much, now you're tired. When in actuality, it's your kind of compassion brought you to a field that made you want to be giving to others, and you lended yourself in the way that you felt that you were meant to. and then
or wanted to,
or you felt like
Or both.
obviously there are people who feel like I want to do this type of work, right? So like you are generous and caring and compassionate, and you choose a field where you want to help others, but at the same time it's just like for financial reasons or for bureaucratic reasons there's like a very heavy workload.
Right.
So,
Other things kind of almost. It feels like they're inhibiting you from really just doing the best you can do, and you're like, it's kind of counterproductive.
Right. So I just want to reach as many people as I can and be like, obviously you have to do paperwork, obviously you have to take notes, obviously you have to take data, and you have to write reports, but at the same time, it's like you can't be so obsessive about that. I can't stand when I upload a video of me doing speech therapy, and one of the first comments is like, but you're not keeping data.
Well, you can go back and track your data after the video.
I certainly can.
That has been proven in the research that is effective as well.
It's way more effective because you don't have to focus on it. You can just like actually objectively, right?
I don't know if there's data for that. It's way more effective, but there's data saying just as effective. You know,
well,
I'm being informative. You know,
from my perspective, it's like
I know from your perspective.
In the moment you're just like, yeah, that was good, but then actually like you listen back and you're like, oh, he said that and I didn't hear it.
Right.
Know? But then also when I'm uploading a video to Instagram, that's only 1 minute of a 30-minute session. So who's to say you don't have to take data every minute? You just have to do data like once that session.
Right.
And you should take official data, I think, monthly. Some people say quarterly. Some people say every grading period or whatever. But I think monthly you should just do like a little mini assessment just to be like, this is where we are. This is what we did in January. This is what we did in February.
Yeah. I like that idea.
You know, just so that you always have that data. But then in that session you can just be like, so-and-so... provided an opposite for a given word with 30% accuracy, which increased to 70% accuracy with maximum model props and cues. Future sessions will target improving basic and linguistic concepts.
Right.
Done.
Yes. Right. I mean, I think that sounds great, but I don't know. What maybe depends on the state, depends on the location of what the higher ups, I'm just going to say, for lack of a better word, are asking for. So it's hard to say, you know, that might be more than enough in one setting, but that might not be enough in another setting. So we don't really know. It depends. It's so specific.
But that's why I want to be a voice.
No, I know.
Like,
I get
obviously, the majority of the people who got into this field, they just want to help others.
Right.
So, like, let them help others. Obviously, everyone has to be accountable, and everyone does better. Even weight loss is, like, the number one thing with accountability, right? You have, like, your workout groups and your, like, mentors and all those people.
Yeah.
On Facebook and Instagram, who have those,
or like Weight Watchers. Or something.
It's
they're not a sponsor, but we'll take them as a sponsor.
Yeah,
We'd love that.
But it's all like
we could be eating like healthy snacks with wine and cheese. Like I love it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna reach out to them.
Well, we've had episodes where we had blueberries.
We did.
But everyone does best with accountability. So I'm not saying that like you shouldn't have anyone watching you or helping you, but at the same time, it's like don't let it be the only thing you care about.
Right.
And then in what else?
What are we saying? Oh, I had questions for you. Yes, okay, so but you already answered my question, so I feel like it's almost like Jeopardy. What is, Deborah, one thing you want to change about the field? And that's what I feel like you want to change about the field.
I just want to streamline paperwork, but then also I want speech pathologists to just like be stronger advocates for themselves and make sure that they have like a proper workspace so that they can see clients in a private and sustainable just setting, you know, so that you don't have to carry everything with you. You can leave things behind. You can see it. No more speeching in the hallway.
Right. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. What's your favorite poem?
Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost.
Okay. And what if you could redo grad school, what would you do? Whoa.
Nothing, because I did what I had to do.
Okay.
I couldn't change
I don't know
anything.
why I thought you were going to say something else.
What do you think I was going to say?
I thought you were, like, similar to your, like, Michelle L.W. Dawson, like, girl crush. You were going to be like, I wanted to do medical, and I would have done this, and I would have, like, blah, blah, blah. So,
I mean,
not blah, blah, blah. I'm just quoting our shirts, you know?
Right. I did, I did get accepted to Columbia and didn't go because I started St. John's in the summer and I'd have to wait to go to Columbia. And I guess in that time, I just wanted to hurry up and get it over with. So sometimes I look back and I wish I went there, but I didn't. And
we wouldn't have met though.
Right, we wouldn't have met. So welcome. Where would I be right now?
Right, not here.
So my questions for you are: what's your strongest motivator?
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know. What do you mean?
What motivates you?
Does relaxing count?
Sure.
Like, what's going to be the easiest thing for me?
The path of least resistance.
Right. Like when I'm like making like, let's say vacation plans, and then there's like, I'm in like for instance, like a group chat, and it's like, all right, where are you girls thinking to stay? And I'm like, where's the one where we have to least walk? Which is the best neighborhood to stay in? Like, just give me like what's going to get me that. The path
the
of least
convenient.
Yeah, most convenient.
You want the most convenient because you just want. Yeah, I think that convenience is a good thing.
Yeah, it's like just give me what's gonna work the easiest. Like just right. Okay, if I'm gonna pay a little extra for hotel, but I don't have to walk as far, or walking doesn't, or I have to worry about Uber or just put me there.
It's not about walking. I talk about this to Mike.
Yeah,
all
not
the time
walking. It's about.
He's a stand-up comedian, so he often goes to other states, like places he's never been before. So I'm like, rent the car.
I love renting cars. Just right.
Because you're somewhere else. You don't know what the public transportation's like. You don't know how many Ubers or Lyfts. I mean, now it's a little bit easier because there is Uber and Lyft, but it's still just like...
That's why I think I love my favorite line, like, work smarter, not harder. Mm-hmm. So, like, just what's going to get me, like, the most bang for my buck.
Which is another reoccurring theme.
Right, yeah, exactly. So it's
just like neurons that fire together, wire together. Which I did not come up with either. I saw a PD and the woman said that. And I can't remember who she is, but we'll put her in the...
I borrowed this quote from SLP. Her name is Maggie.
My aunt has always said that to me, but she would be like, work smart, not hard.
Yeah, okay, work smart. Yeah, that's how I feel.
My next question for you is, for what in your life do you feel the most grateful?
Oh, okay. I guess my family.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm grateful for my family.
And then number 3, is there something you've dreamed of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it?
Oh, well, I just did the thing I've been dreaming of, which is submitting my prompt certification project. Mm-hmm. So
another recurring theme.
Another recurring theme, Maria's anxiety around that project. But no, I let that go. Mm-hmm. I learned from that a lot. Honestly, at this point, like I have been doing everything I want to do. So that's good.
That's good.
Yes. That's all. So our other segment is tips or tricks. And these are tips or tricks that we can apply. And we usually keep them kind of simple, but not too much.
People can do the next day that don't require any prep or anything like that.
Right.
So just something that you can do tomorrow a little bit differently than
I was gonna say tomorrow take data. That's gonna be my tip or trick. My tip or trick is to maybe audio record one of your sessions so you don't have to worry so much about taking data, and that you could take data later if that's easier for you. But just try it out. Try it like the time you're usually supposed to take data, you just record and keep the flow of the session going, and then like go back and take data and see if that helps you. And if not, then go back to your old ways. So it's like try a new way of data collection. I'm inspired by your spiel.
Oh, okay.
Right, so like try a new form of data collection. But that was my suggestion. Then it doesn't have to be that exactly.
Well, what would be a new form of data collection?
Like instead of just taking it in real time, that's part of your session, just keep it going and just audio record it if you don't have like video, like just audio record it and then go back maybe at the end of the day and take the data then and be like, you know what, this is actually easier for me. So work smarter. Not harder. See if that worked for you.
My tip is it takes a long time.
Okay, see, I'm already a little scared of what it is.
It takes a long time. But it's just like you dedicate a couple hours to it in the beginning of the school year.
Okay.
And what I do is I make a document of all of the kids' IEP goals.
Okay, that's not a bad idea. That's a good. I do that too.
turn their IEP goals into session notes with blanks.
I do that too.
So that when I am writing these session notes, it'll be like Maria provided an opposite for a given word with blank percent accuracy when provided blank models, prompts, and cues or whatever.
Right.
So that all I'm doing at that point is just filling in the blanks, and then that's my session note. So it cuts down on my work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times I've done is like, let's say that's like goal number 1, and then if you break down the goal, it's like 1A, 1B, 1C. So your session note is like 1C, and it's like, oh, what's 1C? It's like, go to the top. 1C is like, answering what questions with 80%, 60% accuracy, verbal and visual cues. Like something.
Wait, what?
Like, okay. All right, so let's say the goal is like what questions, right? I'm just gonna keep it so basic, like which I don't even like this goal, but whatever.
Answering what questions?
Yeah, just answering what questions, right? That's like the long-term goal, and let's say the short-term goal is answering what questions with 30% accuracy, verbal and visual cues. So that would be like 3A, right? Like you'll start with that, and then 3B can be like 60% accuracy, verbal, visual. You have
long-term and short-term.
Yeah, if you have to.
Yeah.
But I think it's always helpful to break, even if you have only a long-term goal, it still is helpful to like break it down a little bit. It's like very ABA style, like our last I like that approach, breaking down goals. So that way when let's say you're going to work on 1A, the 30% accuracy, you don't have to sit there and be like 30%. You could be like 1A. What is 1A? Like go to the top.
Okay.
So that's it.
So you have that's what my
it's like an answer key.
My CPSC notes look like. Because at the top it has the goals.
Right.
And then in the note part, it's like, which goals did you work on? And you just put the number.
Yeah, so just like, number.
Maybe you worked on goals 4 and 5.
Right. Goals 4 and 5 are like increase, I don't know, whatever the goal is.
Right.
Like,
label age-appropriate common actions using the appropriate pronoun, copula, and present progressive verb.
That's
he
intense.
is running.
Whoa. Yes. So let's say you worked on that. So you're going to write 4. You're not going to be like, he is. You're going to be like, okay, no, goal number 4, 30% accuracy, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like, just list the facts.
Yes. Got it.
But, okay, cool.
That's a
that
good
was
trip.
intense. Thank you. So our quote for tonight is, be afraid and do it anyway. And I liked it because I feel like we've took some chances with the podcast. We, like between even Asha and the booth and designing shirts, and you invested in the coloring books and like
traveling, time.
Yeah, and like just even if I was not,
check out our Patreon.
Right.
If you want to help us fund this endeavor.
Right. Thank you.
We so this is 100% funded by ourselves and also now our sponsors, which we are so totally grateful for.
And they're awesome.
But if you want to help support us, we will return that favor by uploading content for you, even suggested by you. So if there's something you'd like for us to develop for you or post about, we will do that at www.patreon.com/SLPs Wine and Cheese.
Thank you. I'm Maria.
I'm Deb.
And have a good night.
Hey, so we have fun and exciting big news.
Big news.
We are going to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. We started this podcast last year in 2018. So we're going to have a lovely and fabulous event to celebrate our 1-year success.
Yeah, it's going to be a great big live taping of our podcast at the Creek in the Cave in Long Island City. And we think it's going to be June 1st, 2019. But we don't know for sure because we haven't settled on the date yet. But we're so excited and we want to let all of you know as soon as possible so that you are prepared to come hang out with us for our 1-year anniversary show and party.
Yes, and we're going to have a musical guest and some stand-up comedians. So it's going to be a fun event, and we can't wait to see you all there.
Yeah, a fun event hosted by myself and Maria. We will have wine and cheese and hopefully some other goodies there for all of you who come to listen, and probably 4 comedians, I think, and a musical guest.
Cool. So, yes, more details to follow, but tentative date is June 1st, 2019 in Long Island City at the Creek in the Cave.
That's right.
Yep.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Hey ladies, I'm kind of sort of loving and openly admittingly fangirling y'all lovely duo of SLP's Wine and Cheese.
Yes, and we love listening to your podcast, First Bite.
Well, thank you. I'm Michelle Dawson, and I specialize in functional but fun treatment for medically fragile kiddos, especially for those that have feeding and swallowing impairments and who use AAC devices as part of their total communication plan. On my podcast, First Bite, we discuss all topics related to early intervention and pediatric speech therapy. We address those worrisome ethics and clinical supervision concerns, as well as jump into private practice ownership and really get into the nooks and crannies of all the things in between by interviewing guest experts in the field. Then, every fourth episode, we bring it back home to my Palmetto State by having evidence-based reviews of case studies or resources with my dear friend and colleague, Aaron Forward, who kind of sort of came up with this whole idea.
First Bite is partnered with Speech Therapy PD, offering evidence-based content in a podcast. Each episode can count as 1 hour ASHA CEU. Find them on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
Absolutely. And thanks for all you do and for spreading joy into the world.
Cheers.